Right. Okay. So let's look at chapter 4, binomial expressions of grade 10 mathematics. So first let's look at what is a binomial expression. A binomial is an algebraic expression having exactly two terms separated by a plus or minus sign. So for examples, x plus y, that's a binomial expression, two terms separated by plus sign. Some more 2x minus y, another one x squared plus 2y, 2xy minus y squared. So these are all examples of binomial expressions. So binomial expressions are made of two terms separated by either plus or minus sign. Right. Okay, so next we'll look at some arithmetic operations on these types of expressions. Right, let's look at product of two binomial expressions. Product of two binomial expressions. Right, so let me explain the method through an example. Expand and simplify. Right, so let's try to expand and simplify this product of two binomial expressions. So I will teach two methods. Method 1, that's the normal method in your textbooks. Right, so what we do is pick one bracket. Normally pick the first bracket, then x into first term in that bracket is x, no? So x into the whole other binomial expression, 2x minus 3, then whatever sign in the first bracket, put it in between here, and then 2 into the other bracket, 2x minus 3, like that. So then you know how to expand this type, no? X into 2x, x into minus 3, similarly 2 into 2x, 2 into minus 3. Right, so get the four terms. X into 2x. For the first one I will just write out all the terms before simplifying. X into minus 3, which is minus x times 3, plus 2 into 2x minus 3 into 2. So now simplify. What do you get? 2x squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 6. Then simplify like terms. These are like terms, no? Those terms you can simplify. Minus 3x plus 4x becomes what? Just x. 2x squared plus x minus 6. Right, so this is how you expand and simplify a product of binomials. Right, so this method can be expanded for any number of terms, not binomials. It can be trinomials like this. You do what? X into this one, y into this bracket, plus z into that bracket. So this method is expandable to any number of terms, right? Then the second method is only works for binomial type. Okay, this second method only works for binomial products, so it's called FOIL method. FOIL, right? Right, it works for only binomial types. Okay, don't try this method for any other things, right? Let me get some space. X plus 2, 2x minus 3, right? So this is how FOIL method works. FOIL means F means first, multiply the first terms, so you get what? X into 2x plus, next, what's the next letter? O. That means outside terms. What are the two outside terms? X and minus 3. X times minus 3. So then the next type is I. I means inside. These two inside terms. 2 into 2x. Then finally L means the last terms. So 2 and 3. 2 and minus 3. So 2 and minus 3. So basically we are doing the same thing as we did earlier, but this one you can do it in one line. So 2x squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 6. So simplify 2x squared plus x minus 6. So this method is valid for, FOIL method is valid for getting products of binomials. So if you want to expand binomials, use FOIL. So first, outside, inside, last. That's what FOIL means. Right. So that's the way you expand a product of binomial expressions, right? Okay, we'll do some more exercises. Right, let's look at this exercise. We want to expand and simplify the following binomial expressions, right? So let's look at part A. X plus 2 times x plus 2. So x into x plus 2 plus 2 into x plus 2. Then x squared plus 2x, and you get 2x plus 4 from the second one, right? So this simplifies into what? X squared plus 4x, 2x plus 2x becomes 4x, no? Plus 4. So that's the expanded form of that. Right, let's look at part B. Part B, minus 3x plus 2, 2x minus 3y. Right, so then minus 3x into the second bracket plus 2 into the second bracket, then minus 3x into 2x, minus 3x into minus 3y from the first one, 2 into 2x, and 2 into minus 3y. So minus 3x into 2x is what? Minus 6x squared. Minus 3 into minus 3 is plus 9. Plus 9 x into y, xy. Maybe let me write it out so it will be more clear. Minus 3x times 2x, first term. Next term, minus 3x into minus 3y. Then the next one, 2 into 2x plus 2 into minus 3y. Right, now let's simplify. Minus 3 into 2 is minus 6. X into x is x squared. Minus 3 into minus 3 is plus 9. Then x and y you multiply. 2 times 2x is 4x. Other one, 2 times minus 3y minus 6y. Can we simplify it further? No, there's no like terms to collect, so that's the final answer. Right, then let's look at part C. 4m minus 3n times 4m plus 3n. Right, let me do this using the FOIL method. We have done the first two using the normal method now. So first multiply those two, the first terms, 4m times 4m plus, then we'll do outside, 4m times 3n, then inside minus 3n times 4m, and finally the last terms, minus 3n times 3n. Right, so now simplify. 16m squared plus 12mn minus 12mn minus 9n squared. So what happens? Middle terms cancel out and you are left with 16m squared minus 9n squared. Right, okay, that is part C. Next we'll look at D, part D. Three x plus 4y, 3x plus 4y times 5a plus 3b. Right, this one also I will do using FOIL method. First, so 3x times 5a, then outer 3x times 3b, inner or inside 4y times 5a, then the last terms L, 4y times 3b. So 15xa, 9xb, 20ya, 12yb. Nothing to simplify further, no like terms, so this is the answer. Right. Okay, next look at part E. Half x plus y, 2x plus 3y. Right. So half x into the second bracket plus y into the second bracket, then half into this, half x into this, y into 2x, y into 3y. So you get what? Half x into 2x, you get half x times 2x, half x times 3y, y times 2x plus y times 3y. So 2 and 2 cancel. So first term becomes x squared. Next term becomes 3 over 2xy, then 2xy, then 3y squared. These are like terms, so simplify. X squared, 7 over 2, right? xy part ignore, just simplify the number part. So 3 over 2 plus 2 is 7 over 2 xy, 3y squared. So that is the final answer. Right. Alright, let's look at the last one. 1/3 p plus half q times 2/3 p minus 3/4 q. So 1/3 p into this bracket plus half q into the second bracket 2/3 p minus 3/4 q. Right. Then this term into this term and 1/3 p into that term. Those are the first two terms. 1/3 p times 2/3 p plus 1/3 p times minus 3/4 q plus half q into this, half q into that. Half q times 2/3 p plus half q times minus 3/4 q. Right. So first do the multiplication for the numbers. 1/3 into 2/3 gives you 2 over 9. P into p gives you p squared. Then in this one, 3's cancel out, numerator 3 and the denominator 3. Minus sign is there, so this becomes minus 1/4 p times q. Then the next one, 2's cancel out, plus 1/3 q times p is same as p times q, so we'll write it as pq. Then the next one, minus sign is there, so let's bring it to the front. Multiply minus 3, 2 times 4 is 8, so minus 3 over 8, q into q is q squared. Right. So now simplify the like terms, the middle two terms. So minus 1/4 plus 1/3, which is 12, no, common denominator is 12. So minus 3 plus 4, which is 1 over 12. Right, 1 over 12. So we get the final answer as 2 over 9 p squared plus 1 over 12 pq minus 3 over 8 q square. Right. So either use the normal method or the FOIL method. You can do these question types using both methods. Right. We'll do another question. Right, let's look at this exercise. So now you have to create some expressions by reading the given data. So Pumi made a square-shaped flower bed. Her sister made a rectangular flower bed. Length of the sister's bed was 3 meters more than Pumi's, and the width was 2 meters less than Pumi's. Taking the length of one side of Pumi's bed as x, write the length and width of the sister's bed in terms of x, and express its area in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Right. So it's easy if you draw a rough sketch. So Pumi made a square shape flower bed, and they say taking the length of one side of Pumi's bed as x. So Pumi's flower bed length and width are both x. Then what happened? Her sister made a rectangular shaped flower bed. Taking the length, okay, right. Write the length and width of the sister's bed in terms of x, right. Length of sister's bed was 3 meters more than Pumi's. Pumi's length is what? X, no? So 3 meters more than x means what? X plus 3. So the length of sister's flower bed is x plus 3. X plus 3. And the width was 2 meters less than Pumi's. Pumi's width is x, no? Because length and width are same for a square. 2 meters less than x. So that means x minus 2 is the width. Width of sister's flower bed is x minus 2. So you have to create expressions. Now we did that. Then finally express this area, sister's flower bed area, in this form. So area is equal to what? Length, which is x plus 3, into width, which is x minus 2. Right. So now expand and get the answer. So you get x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6. Simplify the x terms. So x squared plus x minus 6. So ax squared plus bx plus c form, where capital A is 1, capital B is 1, and capital C is minus 6. You don't need to write A equals 1, B equals 1, or C equals minus 6. You just need to write this as your final answer. So using Pumi's data, we had to figure out length of her sister's flower bed and the width of her sister's flower bed. Then using those two expressions, we can write a expression for the area. Right. Okay. So that is how you expand binomials. So this is the type of question you can expect in exams, where you have to create some expressions and get a expression involving them. Right. Next we look at squares of binomial expression. Right. So squares of binomial expression. So A square is what? Square is multiplying the same term by itself. So x squared, like this. Then for binomial expressions, if you multiply the binomial expression by itself like this, you get a square of binomial x plus 2 square. So what we want to see is what is the expansion of this type, right? So this one we can do it using our normal method. X plus 2 squared means x plus 2 times x plus 2. So you get what? X squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. So x squared plus 4x plus 4. Right. So that is the normal way of expanding brackets, right? But for squares of binomial expressions, there's two formulas you can easily remember to do these types of expansions. So the first one is a plus b squared. Let's get a expression for this. So a plus b into a plus b, right? Look what happens. You get a into a plus b into a plus b. Then you get what? A squared plus ab plus ba is same as ab plus b squared. So what do you get? A squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So this is the first square expression you should memorize. A plus b squared expansion. So it's very simple to remember. First term square. Then the middle term is made up of multiply these two terms. A times b, then multiply by 2. Then the final term is the b term squared. So this is one expansion you should remember. So if you don't remember it, just do it normal way. Do the question normal way, like this. Write it out and expand. But to save time, remember this formula. A plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So the middle term is made up of multiply the inside terms, then multiply that by 2. Right. Then you also need to know a minus b squared expansion, which is a minus b into a minus b. So a times a minus b times a minus b. So you get a squared minus ab minus ab. Minus b into minus b becomes plus b squared. So you get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So similar to a plus b squared. Only difference is middle is minus. So the first term is a squared, last term is b squared. Middle term is made up of multiply a into b, then double it and put a minus sign. Right. So to expand squares, use these two formulas. If you want to expand binomial expressions that has been squared, you can use these two to save time, or you can do it the normal way. Right. Okay, so we'll do some exercises to practice these two expansions, a plus b squared and a minus b squared. Right, so let's try this exercise. A plus 3 squared. We want to expand and simplify this. Right. Let me just write down the two expressions we are going to use. A plus b squared is what? A squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and a minus b squared is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Right. A plus 3 squared. So first term squared, a squared means first term squared, a squared plus 2 times first term times second term. So 2 times a times 3. That's how the middle term is made. Then the final term is the second term squared, 3 squared. Right. So now simplify. A squared plus 6a plus 9. So then we'll look at the next one. P minus 3 squared. P minus 3 squared. So now we are going to use this one, the second form. So first term squared is the first term. Second term is minus 2. A is what? P. B is what? 3. Plus second term squared, 3 squared. So you get what? P squared minus 6p plus 9. Right. Then the next one, 3p minus 4q, plus 4q squared. So now it's plus, no, middle is plus, so we'll use the first formula. So 3p whole thing squared. First term is 3p. Then 2 times 3p times 4q, that's the middle term. These two multiply and double, to get that middle term. And the final term is 4q whole thing squared. Right, simplify. 3p into 3p is 9p squared. Let me write it. 3p squared means what? 3p into 3p. This simplifies into 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 2, 4 is 24 pq, and 4q squared is what? 4q into 4q. Right, simplify. You get 9p squared 24 pq plus 16q squared. Right, so that's the expanded form. Right, let's look at the next one. 5m minus 3n squared. 5m minus 3n squared. So this one you have to use a minus b squared form. First term squared. So 5m squared minus 2, multiply these two terms, 5m into 3n plus 3n squared. Second term is 3n. Right, then simplify. 5m into 5m is 25 m squared. 2 times 5, 10, 10 times 3 is 30 mn. 3n squared is 9n squared. So that's the answer. So follow that pattern for these types. That's it. Next one is minus 2y plus 5 square. Right, now what is a? A is minus 2y. So we are going to use our a plus b squared expansion. So a is minus 2y. So minus 2y squared, middle sign is plus, no, so plus 2 into a is what? Minus 2y. Remember, a is minus 2y. So that is important. B is 5 plus 5 squared. Right, now simplify. Minus 2y times minus 2y. 2 into minus 2 is minus 4. Minus 4 into 5 is minus 20y plus 25. 5 squared is 25. Minus 2 into minus 2 is 4. 4y squared minus 20y plus 25. So write it out, then you won't make any mistakes. Remember the formula. Now you have to use a plus b squared because middle is plus. Write it out and then simplify. That's it. A minus right, next one is what? F 5m, sorry, minus 5m minus 6n square. So middle is minus, no? So then you have to use this second formula, a minus b formula, and a is minus 5m. Okay, remember that a is now minus 5m whole thing squared, minus middle is minus, no? So minus 2 into minus 5m, which is a term, and b is just 6n plus 6n squared, b squared. So minus 5m times minus 5m, simplify this, minus minus becomes plus 10 into 60 mn, 6n into 6n is 36n squared, minus 5 into minus 5 becomes 25, so 25m squared plus 60 mn plus 36n squared. Right, so that is how you do expansion of a plus b or a minus b squared type. So depending on the middle sign, pick the correct formula. If it is plus, a plus b squared form. If the middle sign is minus, pick a minus b squared form. And the case where you have to be careful is when the first term is minus, then a is, in this case, a is minus 2y. And in this case, a is minus 5a. Okay. So that is the case where you have to be careful sometimes. Right. We'll do another problem so you can better understand this method. Right, look at exercise 4. This is an application of a plus b squared and a minus b squared to find numerical values. Write each of the following as a square of a binomial expression and find the value. So let's look at first one. 21 squared, write it as a binomial, so that means as addition or subtraction of two terms. 21 squared, easiest way to do this is what? 20 plus 1. 20 plus 1 is 21 whole thing square. Then you can use what? A plus b squared formula. A plus b squared formula is what? A squared plus b 2ab plus b squared. So now our a is 20. So 20 squared plus 2 into 20 into 1 plus 1 squared. 20 squared is easy, no? 400. 400 plus 40 plus 1. 441. So sometimes this method is easy to find squares. Use, when you break this, break it into terms that are easy to square, like 20 squared, 10 squared, 50 squared. Those are easy terms to square. So let's look at the second one. 102 squared. So what's the easiest way to break this? 100 plus 2, because 100 squared is easy and 2 squared is also easy. So 100 squared plus 2 into 100 into 2. These are easy numbers to calculate. Plus 2 square. Rather than doing 102 into 102, this method is much easier. 100 into 100 is what? 10,000. 2 into 100 into 2 is 400 plus 4. So you get what? 10,404. Right, let's look at the next one. Number 3. 17 squared. Use easy numbers, okay? I can do 15 plus 2, but that is little bit complicated. I will do this 20 minus 3. Those are easy, no? Then 15 plus 2. 20 minus 3. 20 minus 3 is also 17. So I can do what? 20 squared minus 2 into 20 into 3 plus 3 squared. So think of easy numbers to square. 10, 20, 30 like this. So 400 minus 120, no? Minus 120 minus, sorry, plus 9. So what you get? 289. Right, let's look at the next one. 98 squared. So this is again a subtraction, no? 100 minus 2 square. So you get 100 squared minus 2 into 100 into 2 plus 2 square. So 10,000 minus 400 plus 4. So 9,604. Then let's do the last one. 9.9 squared. 9.9 squared. So this one how to do? 10 minus 0.1, right? 10 minus 0.1 gives you 9.9. So you get what? 10 squared minus 2 into 10 into 0.1 plus 0.1 squared. So you get 100 minus 20 into 0.1 is 2 minus 2. 0.1 into 0.1 is what? 0.001, right? 0.001. So you get what? 98.01 as the answer, right? Okay, so that is an application of a plus b squared and a minus b squared to find squares of numbers. So sometimes it's easier to do it like this rather than multiplying, right? Okay, then we'll do a word problem, right? Exercise 5. If the length of a side of a square shaped room is given as 2a plus 3b meters, write down an expression for the area of the room in terms of a and b and expand it. So square shaped room, length of side of a square shaped room is 2a plus 3b. So then length and width are both same, no? So what's the area? A? 2a plus 3b into 2a plus 3b. That is same as what? 2a plus 3b squared. So this is squares of binomial expressions. So let's square it and simplify. Again we are going to use which formula? A plus b squared formula. A squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So first term squared, 2a squared plus 2 into 2a into 3b plus the last term squared, 3b squared. So 4a squared plus 12ab plus 9b squared. So that's the answer. Right, so this chapter is a short chapter, the binomial expressions. Right, you just need to know how to expand binomial products. Right, so we have done the normal method, and for squares you have two formulas you can use. Okay, so we'll end this chapter here, and in the next video we'll start chapter 5, triangles.